What would she tell the younger person today what they need to look out for or what they should prepare for? This is our journey. Welcome to the Betancourt's homestead. I have a friend that when she came over to cook once, I used to be a really neat cooker, and I think she jinxed me because she came over and everything was flying everywhere, and she said, "I'm a sloppy cooker," and I'm sloppy in the kitchen, and I just laughed and then cleaned everything up. And ever since then, the joy that she had in her heart as we were cooking together, I am such a sloppy cooker. Like, really. I want to show you something. I know it doesn't look like much, but if you could smell it, it smells like Capitola, California on a warm summer day. It has got a can of coconut milk and onions and garlic and lime and cilantro. I met the most amazing lady today. She lives in the big town up north of me, in a little tiny house built in 1910. She is the most cutest lady, and we had a lot in common. I mean, a lot in common. Granted, I didn't grow up in during the Great Depression. I'm not in my 90s. I didn't grow up during World War II, and yeah, so we didn't have that in common. But when she started talking, we had a lot in common, because she's talking about how she cooks, or the question came about, in the current future that we're in, how would she recommend, or what would she tell the younger person today what they need to look out for or what they should prepare for? And the question, she thought about it, and as she was thinking, I was so filled with anticipation of what she would come back with. And she said, get a sewing machine, learn to sew, learn to make do and mend, learn basic foods, stock basic foods. I said, what do you mean basic foods? And she said, well, your freezer shouldn't have pizza in it. Your freezer should have meat. And she's like, your pantry shouldn't have boxed mixes. It should have the flour and the staples. And I was like, totally with you. This is where we literally met in our minds. It was, gotta stir. It's almost ready. It looks so good. If you could just smell it. Oh, lime. It smells like, on a beach, Corona beer with lime sticking in it, sunscreen, coconut sunscreen lotion. Yeah, that's exactly what it smells like. It smells like you're on vacation. We both started talking about our pantry and how basic foods are literally flour, sugar, salt, beans, dried beans, all that kind of stuff. And then you make those ingredients into brownie mixes, cookie mixes, pizza dough, and you take the meat from your freezer and make pizza out of it, and the vegetables from your garden, and you make salads and pizza, and you don't have bagged mixes of salads in your refrigerator. Her recommendation for the younger generation, I don't include myself in the younger generation, although I'm sure she probably would. Her recommendation is literally to learn how to mend your clothes, because you will not be able to buy them, and to learn how to make things from scratch. We talked about bread baking, gonna need to do that. Talked about, we didn't talk about canning, but I'm sure she was a canner years ago. We talked about the garden, and she has a huge garden, and when she's hungry, she just walks out to her garden. Really? That's what I did yesterday. I call it the drive-through. My personal drive-through. Yesterday for lunch, I drove through the black raspberry patch. It was amazing, and it was filling. So, the recipe calls for chicken fried in the skillet, browned in the skillet, and then taken out and whatever. I canned up a whole bunch of chicken years ago. Well, I can every year. I can chicken. So I am literally going to use one of my canned chickens. I am just going to chop up this chicken and cook it just until it's warm because it's already thoroughly cooked. A lot of people don't like canned chicken. It doesn't look beautiful, right? It doesn't look like, oh my gosh, it's absolutely amazing. I just want to open up that can and eat it. It really doesn't. It kind of looks disgusting when it comes out of a can. And it's got this little goopy stuff on the side. I mean, right? It doesn't look good, but man, it sure tastes good. Chicken salad, literally in no time. And I didn't even need to defrost chicken or go kill a chicken, because that has happened before. Anyways, let me show you my pantry. If you have a pantry like this, you can literally make anything. And isn't that what we want when we have a craving, to be able to go to the pantry and make anything? Aren't you just dying to try it? I'm going in. I'm going in. Oh. I am gonna be the best wife ever category today. You didn't see this. You gotta see this. So why am I making this? A couple days ago, I was making a recipe that called for pineapple and 1/3 of a cup of coconut milk, and I had to open an entire can and use 1/3 of a cup, which seemed like a total waste to me. So now my goal in my kitchen, my goal is, what do I use with that other coconut milk? And I had other things that I needed to use. So in order, my dinner menu now alters because I needed to use the coconut milk. I also needed to use some chicken that I had, chipotle chicken, seasoned, same thing, out of a can that I jarred. I threw a couple chipotle peppers in there. So I made tortillas for flour tortillas, and we had tacos with the chicken. And then this coconut milk, now I need limes because I bought limes at Costco. When you buy limes at Costco, you buy limes at Costco. I now needed to find a way to use that coconut milk, and I had limes, so why not limes, coconut milk, and I had cilantro, so I might as well throw that in there. So I looked for a recipe that used coconut milk, and the third recipe in my Google search brought up this lime, coconut, chicken, cilantro chicken recipe. Golden, I have all three of those. Why not go for it? So I did. Let's look at my pantry, because you want to. You see my cat? She's hunting. So keep in mind, I live pretty much 70 minutes away from the closest grocery store that I like to shop at. I buy not massive bulk, but I buy enough to keep me in stock for a month or two. And I cook everything from scratch. So, except for all bran. I have all bran cereal up there and sweetened coconut for some recipes that I use. My husband's favorite sunflower seeds, that's it, they're always here. And then we have raisins, natural candied raisins, right? And then we go down to my spice aisle, and that's all this is massive spices, right? Except for this. This goes right there. Right? So massive spices. Do you think I go through that cupboard when I want a spice? No. That's backup, because spices need to be kept in a cool, dry location. Right over here, magnets, I have alphabetized all my spices. Literally. Cilantro if you need it. Why use dried cilantro? That's backup, right? I have real cilantro. Real cilantro's in there. I also grow real cilantro. And then I have the next one, which is all my rices, black beans, the beans and the rices that I use most often, couscous, mung beans, adzuka beans. These are beans that I sprout in the winter when we need green and we don't have lettuce that's growing because like it's really cold. There's quinoa, and back here, then there's spices here, spice blends here, and then this is the only cupboard that I have that is prepackaged stuff. It's just, and some of it is just stuff that I'm using. Back there is pectin, and then we have top ramen noodles. Just because you never know, you know? Chicken chow mein, chicken salad is really good. And then here's where it gets good. I have salts, canning salts, different types of salts. I have honey, molasses, dried fruits behind it, all my nuts, my cinnamon and sugar shaker, homemade vanilla. We have sugar, vanilla sugar, old-fashioned from Belgium. Yes. My husband likes malto meal every once in a while. I'll just keep that there. We have gelatin, his gum, right? Dry milk, carob powder, baking essentials. Unsweetened shredded coconut, unsweetened flaked coconut, then the little bag of that coconut that you saw up there. And then extract, gluten flour. You can tell the stuff I don't use very much is in the back. Cocoa, baking cups, gluten, parsley flakes, bouillons. You get the hint, right? Little things that you need. I use that a lot. And then I have my flours. Regular flour, bread flour, almond flour, cake flour, pancake mix. I haven't used that in years. I haven't used it in years, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think I would eat it. Would you guys eat it? It's kind of like 4 years old. Along with the Bisquick that I have back in the back, I may have thrown that away. I make my own Bisquick. The lady that I was talking to today, she made the comment about how back in her day, the only convenience food they had was Bisquick. And I looked at her and I said, that's hilarious. I make my own Bisquick. And she looked at me and she goes, me too. Yeah, kinfolk, we make our own Bisquick. But yeah, could you imagine? So back to the tour. And then you have beans, row of beans, rows of rice, polenta, corn mixes, everything like that. Potato flakes, oh gosh, seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, everything. I'm gonna try and make hummus from scratch, golden flax seeds, and those right there, those are the few condiments that we have. Those little 4 bottles, that's it. And 2 of them are smoke flavoring. And then, look, I have a whole row for chocolate chips. A woman has got to have her priorities. And when the day has been really bad, those are my little mini Hershey's Kisses, and they save many lives. Those little things have saved many lives. I'm just gonna say that. Carrying on. Dried fruit and just some flour, like masa flour, panko breadcrumbs, things like that. And then you go down here and you have tomatoes, because mine haven't started getting ripe yet. I just got my first tomato today. I have onions, potatoes. I have another bag back in the back for the next, sweet potatoes. And that's about it. With all of that in my cupboard, I can make just about anything. I can make cakes, crackers, breads, just about everything. Hummus, I'm gonna teach myself how to make hummus. The refrigerator has a few cold things that need to stay refrigerated, but other than that, that's it, folks. Oh, you wanna see this? Look at this. It's our first little tomato. It's our first, oh, it doesn't really smell that much like a tomato, but it's our first tomato from our garden this year. Remember, the house is sitting on our annual garden. This was so not the opportune year to do this, was it? No. That is our tour of the pantry. Bye, you guys. Have a great day. I am going to serve up this rice and let the rice go. And dinner is ready. Bye. So it's morning. Dinner was an absolute success. I'm sitting here and I'm still reeling over the conversation I had with my new friend. The one that I had with the 90-year-old lady that had been through the Great Depression as a young child, and saw how, I mean, even World War II, and she talked about how they lived and survived, and that peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, just, basic foods. Meats were a staple in her freezer. That the only convenience food that she had, or that the convenience food she had when she was younger, was Bisquick. Could you imagine only having Bisquick as a convenience food? Everything she was saying was basically we needed to get back to the old way of living, the old lifestyle, without the convenience foods. We needed to learn how to cook without the convenience foods. So, without the packages. That's the interesting thing about all of this food, all of this cooking, the way of life that we now have. We think that we have to have a brownie box mix to make brownies, when in actuality, all we need to have are 5 of the dry ingredients mixed together, and we have our own box of brownie mix. We think we have to have spiced pickle packages, when in actuality, all we need to have is a couple different types of spices and put a teaspoon here and half a teaspoon there and a tablespoon there. And we have pickled spice mix. We've been led a great marketing campaign. Touché. Touché. There you go. So where do I go from here? After you have a conversation with a 90-year-old lady, a lady in her 90s, that is sharp as a tack and was small and remembers how they survived through the Great Depression, one cannot continue to live normally. I think I need to reevaluate some things and make sure I'm on the right track. Make sure that I'm taking her suggestions to heart. I have a sewing machine. I actually have 2. I have books that teach me how to make stitches without electricity. And I have a well-stocked pantry that I showed you. A pantry that will allow me to make just about anything. I worked really hard this last decade, changing the way we ate. We wanted to eat off of the garden, out of the garden, as much as we possibly could, so we grew a ton. The house sits where the annual garden used to be. We're getting ready to replant it, hence clearing the blackberries. But I think it's interesting what she kept saying. She kept saying that they didn't have frozen pizzas in their freezer back in the days. They didn't have the packaged food, but they ate really well. I mean, they ate well. So I guess maybe that's what it taught me, was that I'm on the right track. Now, for the young ones that are telling me, I don't know how to cook, I need the brownie box mix because I don't know how to make anything, I'm not a good cook. Rubbish. Rubbish, my dear. YouTube exists. There are no excuses for not learning anything. If you want to learn how to cook or boil water, simply put that in the search bar of YouTube and watch. I watch 5 to 6 videos on everything. Last night, what did I learn to make? I learned to make ramen noodles from scratch. Not how to cook them. I learned how to make them. I need one machine. I need the pasta maker. With a pasta maker, I can make all kinds of things. I don't have one right now. But maybe that's something that we need to experiment with. Maybe we need a pasta maker with the attachment for the ramen noodles. Maybe we need to experiment with that. What do you think? There is no excuse for saying you don't know how to do something. I am constantly finding ways to teach myself how to find new recipes, because while my parents cooked and we had dinner every night, I am part of the generation where both of the parents worked outside of the home. We really don't have the same skills that this lady had. This lady grew up. She didn't work. Her work was kitchen and home life and taking care of everything on the land. But my generation, we made simple dinners out of packages and boxes. The chow mein was out of a can, and we put it all together and put it on the table, and we called that dinner, Chinese dinner. Oh, can we still say that? I'm so lost. It was good food. But can I make it from scratch with what I have in my pantry? Or what extra ingredients would I need to keep on hand in order to be able to make it when we're in the mood? So the way I cook is quite different. You saw me making the coconut lime cilantro chicken dinner. And that was because I had to use the milk, the coconut milk. And I had extra limes and I had cilantro. And whenever you buy cilantro, you have to find ways of using cilantro. Not really. I love cilantro. But right now in my freezer, I have a little bit of chipotle chicken left. And I have one more serving of that coconut lime chicken. I sent half of it to work. So I should probably sit down and figure out how much it costs for me to make that chicken dinner. That would be interesting. I wonder how much it cost. And then I would know if it's feasible or economical to make it again. Thanks for sitting here with me. Bye, you guys. Have a great day. Go learn something new. Bye. It looks amazing. Like, really amazing. Sorry, COVID. I've already contaminated the entire thing. My husband texted me he was on his way. He better get here quick. I'm just saying, I may not be the best wife ever. I may lose that status rather quickly. Oh my gosh. I probably should get rid of them because some of them have been here since 10 years ago. I probably should get rid of them, but they're so processed, they're probably still good. If you have mashed potatoes at my house, make sure you ask me if they came out of a bag or if I made them. Just kidding, I wouldn't serve that stuff to friends. No. So